Hi there, Malcolm here with my 304th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a review for Total Recall, written by Piers Anthony. This is the novelisation of the film, which in turn is based off of a short story by Philip K. Dick. We can remember it for you wholesale. And we're talking about the original 1990 film, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronny Cox, Sharon Stone, Michael Ironside, to name a few, and directed by Paul Verhoeven. It's a classic science fiction, violent action-adventure story. Basically, Douglas Quaid lives on Earth but dreams about Mars and a woman on Mars. He can't afford to visit Mars, his wife doesn't want to go, and he hears about Recall, a travel company that, rather than taking you anywhere and upload fake memories into your brain, making you think you've been. It's a much cheaper option, it's a much safer option, and despite being told not to do it, he goes to do it. However, before they even upload the false memories into him, Douglas's suppressed alternate personality rears its ugly head and causes chaos, meaning that people there resort to stunning him, sticking him in a cab and pretending he never went there in the first place. And after that, things start going wrong. His best friend tries to kill him, his wife tries to kill him, as well as some other bad guys who chase him all around the city, and he ends up travelling to Mars to find out just what is going on. Who was he? Why is he not who he thinks he is? What's so special about Mars anyway? I won't go into it further than that at the moment because of spoilers, but essentially it's a man who isn't who he thinks he is being chased by bad men for reasons that he doesn't understand. And as I said in other videos when I talk about novelisations, I love reading novelisations of films because you get nuances, scenes, or other ideas that were in the script at the time when the book was written but were subsequently dropped or changed during the filmmaking process. And that's those differences that really complete the whole picture of the film. Now, most films are fine on their own, and most good novelisations are fine on their own. But the blend of the two really give you a more complete picture of what they were trying to create, what they felt was going to work on screen, rather than the version of the script that the novel was based off. And I did actually watch the film as I was reading this, so when I finished a chapter, I'd watch the film up to that point, and so I was able to refresh what happened in the film and directly compare it to the events of the book. And for the most part, they are pretty close. However, Paul Verhoeven is known for his quite violent action scenes. Not that I'm saying the action scenes in here weren't violent, but take the first violent encounter that Doug Quaid has, and that is with his best friend. After he's been to Recall, his friend comes along with a bunch of goons and they try and kill him. And in this, Quaid executes 4 very quick kicks, punches, and 1 neck snap to dispatch his 4 assailants very, very quickly. Whereas on screen, there's a few more punches and the gun comes out and he shoots a few as well with the gun. Just to, I don't know, increase the blood spatter and lengthen the action, as it were. Both have their merits. I mean, we didn't need all the detail of violent death written in the book, but on screen it felt that maybe we need to draw it out a bit more. Also in the book we get more of Quaid's inner thoughts, and certainly the way he views his wife and the girl of his dreams who he seems to recall from Mars, and the secretary at the Recall Institute itself. And you get the fact that he's very much objectifying all the women around him, which did take away from him being a likeable character. I mean, he's a bit of a dick. For the most part, both storylines did keep quite close to each other until about 2/3 of the way through, when Quaid finally meets Kuato, the leader of the Martian resistance, and then things do take a bit of a split. And now into spoiler territory. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I shall say that this was booktastic, one of the better novelisations I've read, and you can go on your merry way. Or, if you're happy with spoilers, we'll continue. Now in the film, when he meets Kuato, open your mind, and we have this whole thing about seeing this alien construct that's in this pyramid, supposedly going to melt the ice and create an atmosphere, and all centres on this weird handprint on the top of the dome. And the whole sequence takes about a minute to play through. In here there's a whole 16-page chapter, one of the bigger chapters in the book, of quite dense text, explaining about the aliens who built it, their motivations, why they built it, where they came from, where they're going, their physiology. The machine is built as one of 3 tests for humanity. 1, they got to get to Mars. 2, they got to find it. And 3, they then got to do the right thing with it. Failure to do this 3rd thing, or doing the wrong thing with it, will result in the obliteration of the solar system. It will cause the sun to go nova. Now, this is not mentioned in the film at all. It's not even hinted at. And at the beginning of the book, there's even an article on the news of some stars going nova that they weren't expecting to go nova, and the scientists were all scratching their heads very confused about why these stars were going nova. That's not mentioned again until right near the end, where we find out that actually other civilizations have access to this technology and done the wrong thing with it, causing their sun to go nova. And so as in the film, the stakes are, we've got to stop Cohagen from blowing it up, because otherwise he's going to enslave the Martian population forever. No, if this arsehole blows it up, all of humanity is going to be wiped out instantly. So the stakes are far greater in the book, and which made it for a much more exciting, tense, even though I knew how it was going to end, sequence of events leading up to the conclusion. Of course, while making the film, I think they dropped pretty much all of that, just to the fact that big machine goes, woo, put a hand in big machine and it'll make atmosphere. So it's a shame that they really dumbed down the ending to that degree, seeing there was a whole extra layers to why that machine was there in the first place. So I really appreciated that aspect. And another example of how things change, if you recall the elevator scene with Quaid's final battle with Richter, and the way that Richter is disarmed and falls to his death. See what I did there? In the book, they're fighting on the elevator, and there's a scene that happens where they're put into that concluding situation, but then they both get pulled onto the platform again, and the fight continues. And then we have this whole sequence with a cable, and they're both dangling on either end of the cable, and presumably they just thought, well, that's too dangerous or too technically difficult to do. However, back at this early bit of this fight scene, this nearly happened. Let's make that happen. And I'm just fascinated by the way that thought process goes. We have all this fight scene, it's like, well, we can't do that, so we'll do this, and then just change that bit, and the fight's over at that point. And the other bit that they added was Cohagen's comeuppance. When he activates the machine, Cohagen is sucked out onto the surface of Mars, where he asphyxiates and dies, pretty graphically. But in the book earlier on, it basically alludes to the fact that Cohagen often executes criminals in this very way. And so not only is the bad guy getting his comeuppance, he's getting a very poetic comeuppance as well. You know, what's done to him is what he's done to others. And again, my big problem with the film was that, you know, the machine's activated and suddenly we're all breathing in moments. It's like, well, surely this would take a bit longer. The book does actually make an effort to explain some of the processes and explaining just why this would have been as quick as it was. Okay, still perhaps a little bit far-fetched, but it was more believable how it was written in the book than what actually features on the screen. So all in all, I absolutely loved this novelisation. It really added an extra layer to the enjoyment of the film, filling in some of those gaps that the film decided just to skip. I wouldn't say it's necessarily better than the film. There's things in here I liked better than what they did in the film, and the things I liked in the film better than they did in the book. All in all, I think both side by side make a very decent package. Booktastic. So have you read Total Recall by Piers Anthony? Have you seen the film by Paul Verhoeven? Or have you seen the new Total Recall? I've not bothered with that one yet. I don't get terribly excited about remakes. But what do you think of them? Comments down below, please. Or what's the best novelisation to a book that you've ever read and would highly recommend? Comments down below, please. But as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTubey things if you want. And until next time, see you later.